Welcome back, everybody. It's the RP Show on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and across Canada on Game Plus TV. We're brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with a promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. Coach Barker joins us. Hey, Coach, it's a wonderful time in football, championship weekend in college football. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start today?
Well, we got to start with the Lions game last night and the statement. I mean, I'm staring at your star there, and so I have to get that off my chest. You know, it's. I was feeling so good about the Cowboys. You know, 3 straight weeks, they they played with the physical tenacity that it takes to win in this league. And Jerry Jones looked like a genius with the Quinnen Williams and some of those guys that they brought in, for Parsons, were starting to pan. And then last night, the Lions just physically beat the heck out of them. I mean, it was scary. I mean, it was 5 sacks on Dak. It was Jahmyr Gibbs having just an unbelievable game, and the Lions basically physically saying you might be good, but you're not there yet. You're not ready yet to the Dallas people, and that was exciting. That was it was again one of those things I thought was a statement game, which the NFL has a few this week. Somebody has to win that AFC, I don't know, some direction with the Steelers and the Ravens.
Yep.
It's north, south, east, or west. I don't know what it is.
AFC North, yeah.
AFC North. Somebody has to win that division. You got 2 500 teams. In this year, with some teams playing out of their head, the Bears at 8-3, the Patriots, you got teams playing unbelievable. You got 2 6-6 teams, and one of these teams is going to make the playoffs. I mean, it's the division champions, and they talk in the CFL about eliminating the divisions and the best teams play. I haven't heard that in the NFL. That maybe we got too many divisions. We're going to have a mediocre team making the playoffs that wouldn't otherwise make it if they were in any other division. And I think that's kind of interesting. So that should be an interesting game. But the big one this weekend, go ahead.
No, number one, that happens in every league. And it happens every year in the NFL. Like Carolina could win the NFC. A bad team's going to win the NFC South. Tampa Bay keeps winning. Used to be the AFC South, but now there's some good teams in the AFC South. But here's one, Cleveland, Tennessee. That is the train wreck that you can't not watch. Like everybody's interested in what the Browns are going to do. It's a terrible matchup.
I cannot watch it. I'm one of those people who am happy to say, I can tell you one game I won't be watching is that game. I know Shedeur Sanders will be a quarterback, but I have zero interest in watching the Tennessee Titans, and it doesn't matter who they play, the Cleveland Browns. But the Bears-Packers, I mean, the Bears are the number one team in the NFC right now, going ahead of the Rams after their loss. That to me is just mind-blowing, what Ben Johnson has done, and he's come in and instilled that physical nature into the Bears. And when they went into Philadelphia and beat them the way they did, people have to understand how impressive that was. We talked about it on the show last week, that this is going to be, we're going to find out, will the real Bears please stand up? And they may have. They may have, because that was a great one. Now they get the Packers, and I believe it's in Green Bay. I'm not positive on that.
It is.
But that's another tough to go Philadelphia, Green Bay back-to-back, and they come out of that with 2 wins. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with all the way to the end. I mean, that to me is the game of the weekend, is the Bears and Packers. First one was last night, but the Bears and Packers in the NFL, again, the Steelers and Ravens, I'll look for the result. But it's hard for me to watch these teams that are just bad. I
Well,
shouldn't say bad. They're
yeah,
just
but
not. They're not
Ben,
exciting the way they're playing.
I feel like it's a two-horse race for Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel or Ben Johnson. And Ben, in what he's done in Chicago or even in New England with Vrabel, they're poster boys for that. You should fire a coach if you're losing, because these two guys have proved they can turn a program around. Unless there's something
Right
I'm
away.
missing, yeah, right away.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And they're young coaches that, again, Vrabel, second time around, a lot of times, I don't know if people remember, but Bill Belichick's first, not counting the Jets where he was only there for a day, but when he was with the Browns, and then when he went to the Patriots, everything fell in place for him. Vrabel goes to the Titans, which has become the graveyard of coaches, and they've basically stayed where they are. Mike Vrabel moves on, and he's shown what kind of coach he is, and he's got, he has Drake May. I hate to say fall in his lap, but the Drake May, Josh McDaniels connection between coordinator and quarterback, if they're, you couldn't go out and find a better Tom Brady type guy than Drake May. You just can't. I mean, you want to talk about a match made in heaven? You put Drake May on the Browns, you think he would be what he is today? I don't know. I don't know. It just, it's guys getting with the, we talk about it when we talk about the draft. It's players getting connected with coaches that make things work. That's why college football is becoming more and more fascinating. It's going to
Mm.
be, is if Trinidad Chambliss is going to go with Kiffin, which surprised me, Kim going to LSU. But it's fascinating to watch players matched with coaches. And Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, and Drake May is like a rerun back to the last 15 years when the Patriots had Tom Brady. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of another quarterback in the NFL right now who's more like Tom Brady than Drake May.
And as you say that, I think of, imagine if Shadur went to New England, but then I'm like, they wouldn't draft him in the first place. Viewer C Lightning writes in and says, Jim Barker, always entertaining and knowledgeable. Yes, he is. Jim's made for TV, and he doesn't even know it, but we won't tell him that. On the college thing, by the way, let's get into that. I think you saw what I was saying earlier. Like, is
I
it
didn't. I
broken?
didn't see.
Okay, well, I
I
just said
didn't
we were,
see
everybody says college football is broken. And I'm sitting there going, actually, a viewer said it. They're like, is it? Making more money than ever. More people watching than ever.
ever.
Yeah, and I'm kind of enjoying. I'm in Canada for a week. I'm here for work, and I'm kind of okay with getting out of South Florida because all, and I mean all, they're talking about is Lane Kiffin, Lane Kiffin, Lane Kiffin, Lane Kiffin. It was a nice break, but I mean, leaving your team in the middle, this something is wrong. Unless you don't think that there's something wrong with college football right now.
Well, there's something drastically wrong with it, and they have to change their whole calendar thing to get it right. Because a team who is in the playoffs should be able to have their coach through the season, through their whole season. And if that means you got to change the rules so you don't do the early window and portal and all that stuff in December, you put it off until your season's over. So the first portal will be a week after maybe the season ends. Those are the kind of changes they need to make because a coach should be able to stay with his team through the thing without having to, I mean, it wasn't just, I'll tell you, when Lane Kiffin said if they're not on the plane, which I don't think he said that, that was a Nick Saban thing. You either get on the plane if you want to go from Michigan State to LSU, or you're not going to have a job. Well, I don't think he said that, but the kind of position that puts assistant coaches in is difficult. They know something's coming up, but they still have decisions to make that are not as cut and dried. Who's the new coach going to be at where I'm at, and who's it? So making those decisions takes time. So again, the Lane Kiffin decision, I think it was really tough for him. And I went through the Mike O'Shea Winnipeg or Toronto decision with him. We talked 2.5 hours, and at the end of it, I had no idea what he was going to do. because they are tough decisions. I believe Lane Kiffin didn't know exactly for sure what he was going to do. Now, the AD says he thinks Lane knew all along he was going to go to LSU. And his reasoning is interesting because he's going to get 30 million NIL at LSU as opposed to 15 million at Ole Miss. But if he went to Ole Miss and said, I need to get this up around at least maybe 25 mil, does he stay? And was that even a factor? I don't know. But those decisions are not easy for coaches, and I've been involved in that, and as an assistant, you always forget about the assistants, and they have families, and the head coach, he's going to make his money, and I just don't believe that he left for money. I really don't. I don't believe it was his salary. He says it was for the players' salaries, that he was doing it for the players. Well, the players at Ole Miss don't think he was doing it for the players.
Oh, give me a break. But you mean you hear a million things, and some pundit who I respect said, yeah, Lane said LSU's the best coach in college, or best place in college football, but he really wants to go to Alabama. We all want to believe what we're told, what the guys staying at the podium's telling the truth. But, Jim, they very rarely ever are. I'm sorry to tell you there's no Santa Claus, but I don't know. I can't believe what Lane Kiffin says. I mean, would you hire Lane Kiffin if you were an AD and you had unlimited resources? Would you hire him?
I don't know. That's an unfair question because a lot of it would depend on. There's a lot of things that go into it. I think certain coaches are right for certain places. I think Lane Kiffin was right for Ole Miss, and I know Pete Carroll told him your dad would tell you to go. Now that had to have been powerful to him. Now how Pete Carroll knows that, I know Pete and Monty worked together. They knew each other a long time, and again, there's reasons that we don't know about, that we'll never know about. Could be all kinds of things. He made his decision because it was right for him, and he earned the right to make that decision. And you can't get mad at Lane Kiffin for doing something that he feels is right, that he earned. And it would be like if ESPN called you and they said they wanted to put you on, a prime time thing, and you have your great thing going, and you have to tell those people, this is better for me. Now, again, people can say, wow, they gave you so much, but you get those decisions. You would have earned that. So that's the way I look at coach, because I look at it as a coach, as they earn the right to make that decision. The rules can protect, and that's what has to happen. Is the NCAA's got to step in. Like, I'll tell you another problem with this. So we got Indiana playing Ohio State tomorrow, 1-2. That feels like a national championship game.
Yes, it does.
But in reality, it really doesn't mean they're both going to be in the top 4, as they should be. You got the two best teams in the country playing for what? And then what is going to come out of that game? A Big Ten champion. But if Indiana wins and Ohio State wins a national championship, nobody's going to ever remember this game. It was like Michigan beating them last year. That's the thing. That's the thing about the playoff system, that there's some teams are playing these games, and I know Sark is making the big pitch for Texas, that Texas has played tough games, and I agree with that. And if you punish for that, teams aren't going to do that. They're going to play like that. That week we had 2 weeks ago where Auburn was playing Mercer and Alabama was playing Pine Bluff. It was worthless. It's worthless. It completely lose interest. So you want those great games, but if you want those great games, you have to say, okay, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. So again, it's Alabama plays Georgia this week. Big game for Alabama. Georgia, they're number 3 right now, but they lose to Alabama, they'll drop out of that bye week. I think they might move somebody else in. That would be so. That makes those games intriguing. but they also are like the Indiana Ohio State game to me is the one that I really shrug my shoulder because I'm excited to watch it. But it's like I'm watching the national championship game here. This is it. This is the top two teams in the country.
Yeah, and in the case of Sark politicking for Texas, their first game was against OSU, as you remember, and Arch Manning looked awful. And I'm like, Sark, maybe don't go in like to a season with a first-time starter. I mean, you have to, but this is, to me, it's more on Arch than it is on anybody else. Hey,
Ohio State had Julian Saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's well, I was thinking about the OSU defense, but where is it here? Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, happy for Quantez Stiggers getting Pro Bowl consideration.
Yes.
He's been fantastic as a special teams gunner for the Jets. What are your CFL notes here in the last few minutes?
Well, Quantez Stiggers first. What a great story. I mean, John Jenkins was running this league down there, the, I don't know, fan control football league, and called me and said, hey, we got this guy. So I talked to Vince Magri and Michael Clemens about him. They signed him. And then I ended up with the team that year and watched Quantez grow as a pro in the CFL. And it really does get you to think when the NIL, they can make a lot of money. But growing as a player, watching Quantez Stiggers in 1 year go from being a guy who was playing fan-controlled football, playing the CFL, and then you make an NFL roster, and now you're up for a Pro Bowl, that's pretty special. And he's a special young man, 21 years old, I think, and not everybody can go to college. College isn't for everybody, and maybe this is something that the NFL will look at. But CFL notes? Okay, I'm going to give you one. Okay? And this one's a kind of a shocker, and nobody knows, so you're breaking it. I am going back to the Toronto Argonauts.
What? I didn't know
Has
that.
it ever been done like this?
No. Tell us the news.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and John Huffnagel is already, he's going to be for Michael, kind of a personal and helping with those kind of, and I'm going to basically head up the personnel department. So
oh my gosh.
I will get get some new people. And, the thing I love most is watching guys like Vince Magri go to the Bills and Chris Rossetti go to the Giants now, and Curtis Ruckabina, Matt Yusuf, four guys, Canadian guys that are now in NFL front offices. That to me is and I get to do that again. So for me, it's really exciting. I haven't even talked to you yet. I told Corey I'm not going to say anything on this show about it because I wouldn't do that to Rod. But you know what? I'm going to do it.
I'm glad
to
you did.
And we'll talk this week about the future.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so happy. And I know it's recent. This is a recent development. So congratulations, Jim.
I have not signed the contract.
Oh, so should we not tell anybody?
No, it's right outside. I'm going to sign it. It's done. I'm signing it.
Good. We got a roll. We're going here. Well, what a wonderful way to end the week, Jim. Congratulations on that. Keep in touch, please, and enjoy the football. We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, Roddy.
Jim Barker of the Toronto Argonauts. How about that? Again, joining us on a Football Friday. Oh, boy. Whew, I just got some tingles there. What a great way. We got gas on the show today. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.